Please join me in welcoming commencement speaker, Maryland Lieutenant Governor Aruna Miller.
Brianna, thank you so much. That was incredibly long bio that she had to read, wasn't it? And I also want to say thank you to Alyssa for sharing your dreams. And you know what? The world is going to work to make sure all of your dreams come true. Thank you. And how about that Victoria's rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner? Was that amazing or what? Victoria, the only person that comes even close to you is Jimi Hendrix, okay? That is my favorite version of the Star-Spangled Banner. So good morning, Dragons. How you doing? So are you all fired up? Come on now. I need to hear that fire-breathing roar. Are you all fired up? That's what I'm talking about. Well, I want you to know the state of Maryland is fired up too. Today, we celebrate you. Today, we celebrate your successes, your achievements, and we are so excited for you and your fiery spirit. Congratulations, class of 2024. We cannot wait for you to show the world just what dragons are made of. I'm Aruna Miller, Lieutenant Governor of Maryland. Thank you for the great privilege of serving you and for the honor of being your commencement speaker. Greetings to everyone who has joined us this morning for the Howard Community College's 53rd commencement. To the families, friends, partners, and even furry pets, today is much your celebration as it is the graduates. Your personal, emotional, financial sacrifices have all contributed to achieving the shared aspiration. So congratulations to each and every one of you as well. And a heartfelt gratitude to the faculty and staff who have guided, mentored, and inspired these amazing graduates. To the 7-member Board of Trustees, including Chair Keller, and my former colleague, who's not here, but from the Maryland House of Delegates, Frank Turner, thank you for all your leadership. And President Willis, what can I say about you? I've admired you from the moment that I met you. Dragons, you all have a super bad president here, don't you? She is bold, fearless, a first-generation college student, a mom, and a barrier breaker, the first African-American to serve in this role. Let's give it up for Dr. Willis. Dr. Willis, we are so grateful for your service. And a great big shout out to the tremendous elected leaders that serve you in the Maryland General Assembly as well as the County Council who fight for you each and every day. And to our tremendous County Executive, Calvin Ball, who is another history maker, right? The first African American to be elected to this position in Howard County. You all, it's a little bit intimidating to be here with so many record breakers and history makers. Actually, it's not, because I know that they're dedicating to making sure that you and I belong in every room, every space, every position that we occupy. To our graduates, commencement marks end of one chapter and the beginning of another in your life story. As you turn the page to this new chapter, carry forward the lessons, strength, and cherished memories you've gained. Class of 2024, your story is about to become even more remarkable. But it's a story that you must own, and it's a story that you must write with intention. When I was about your age, I had this really big crush on a really cute guy. So I wrote him a love letter, vividly describing the type of life he and I would share together, complete with pictures cut out of magazines, pasted along the sides of the pages. 35 years later, I found this love letter tucked away in the back of my very messy closet in a box filled with faded photographs of years gone by. I read that letter where I go on to describe our life, including how many kids we would have. Hey, I just had to let him know, right, where this girl was coming from. And that we would have lots of dogs running through the house. I'm a dog person. And that our home would be surrounded by trees all around. And I even went on to describe the type of floors our home would have. Wood. You know, dogs and carpets, they just don't go well together. I cringed and I laughed as I read the pages of this love letter. And then I paused, because just about everything I described in that love letter from 35 years ago was the life I was living. I ended up marrying that really cute guy. His 3 amazing daughters. We have a couple of exuberant dogs running through our house. We live in a home surrounded by trees, and yeah, the floors, carpetless all the way through. It reminded me of a quote from my favorite book, The Alchemist, in which the Brazilian author Paulo Coelho writes, "When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you achieve it." This quote speaks to the power of intentionality. When you know what you want, your actions become more purposeful. Write down your intentions and send a clear message to the universe. And ever so slightly, it changes how the world responds to you. You start to notice opportunities that you might have overlooked before and attract people that will propel you forward. It's as if the universe starts to conspire in your favor, aligning circumstances to help you navigate the path forward to your aspirations. Class of 2024, as you move through life, have a plan written for your life goals, because if you don't create your own life plan, you'll likely end up following someone else's. And their plan for you, it's probably not where you want to be. So trust the universe, and most importantly, trust yourselves. And by the way, in that love letter I wrote, I also said that I wanted to save the world. The universe and I continue to conspire together on this. Saving the world starts incrementally with small, everyday actions we perform in the world around us. Each of these seemingly minor deeds contribute to a greater tapestry of service and compassion. And Governor Moore and I are firm believers in the power of service. And we want to build a Maryland to be a state of service. In fact, sitting on this stage and in this institution are nothing but tremendous, dedicated, devoted public servants. And Governor Moore served our nation in uniform as a U.S. Army combat veteran in the 82nd Airborne. Yeah. And I've spent the entirety of my adult life in public service. And my love for service started in a seemingly minor way. When I was about 11 years old, there was a cyclone that took place in India, in our home state, killing over 10,000 people. My parents were deeply distressed by this news. The next morning, my dad handed my sister and me an empty metal coffee can and told us to go collect money for the victims of the disaster. We pleaded and we begged our dad not to make us do this. And I said, "Dad, no one's going to give us any money." My dad looked at me gently and said, "Never underestimate the kindness and generosity of people." And then sternly gave us marching orders. So determined to find a way out, my sister and I ran into my brother's room. We thought we would pool all our resources together. My brother's lawn mowing money, my sister's babysitting dollars, and my piggy bank money. We could present this money as collected donations and call it a day. But as we added our funds into the metal can, it looked suspiciously inadequate. So grudgingly, my sister and I set out. So let me just illustrate what that day was like. It's the late 1970s, two immigrant kids in the suburbs of Missouri, knocking on doors and asking for donations with nothing to show. We knocked on the doors one by one, and one by one, the doors opened up. There were moms helping kids with their homework, dads watching football games, kids playing in the yard. Not a single person turned us away. They offered whatever change that they had. After several hours, our coffee can was brimming over with generosity. They gave change, but they made change. Change that impacted the lives of people that lived over 8,000 miles away from them, that they had never met. And change that set me on a path to serve others. This was the way that I was going to save the world. The small gesture made by these change makers who filled that metal coffee can was just the lesson I needed. When we strive to do better and believe in the best of others, we become better. And you know what? Everything around us becomes better too. This is one way to make change. Class of 2024, no matter where your path leads you, I hope you make service a central part of your life. Because when we serve, we shift from a life of consumption to a life of contribution, from a life of me to a life of we. When we serve, we help create a gentler, kinder, and more inclusive world for today and tomorrow. Answering the call to serve often starts with a simple word, yes. Yes is my favorite word. Yes is a powerful word. Say yes when it challenges you. Say yes when it scares you. I remember the first time when I was asked to run for office, my response was an immediate no. Someone that looked like me, an immigrant, an Indian American woman, had never been elected to the Maryland General Assembly. But ultimately, I said yes, despite my fears, and ran for office. I stepped out of my comfort zone and jumped into a world that I knew very little about. And this yes changed the trajectory of my whole life in ways that I could have never, ever imagined. Saying yes is to trust that the universe has bigger plans for you, one that you can only understand in hindsight. Class of 2024, don't just step out of your comfort zone. Live outside of it as much as you possibly can. Trust me, it'll be worth it. Growth, opportunities, friendship, and knowing your own power can only happen if you're willing to do things you've never done before. And remember, growth and comfort can't ride the same horse. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because this is going to follow you in life no matter what you do. It is said that the two most important days of your life are the day that you're born and the day you discover why. Class of 2024, you're about to embark on a journey to discover the second most important day of your life, and that is when you learn the purpose of your life, your why. And when you discover this, you'll find that your life opens up in ways you could have never imagined. So be intentional, trust the universe, make service a central part of your life, and say yes to opportunities. Be grateful, be humble, and know that Governor Westmore, myself, everyone here, and in the entire state of Maryland will always be rooting for you. Godspeed and congratulations, class of 2024.